Okay, now I am going to create a query based on a good question. If I had a company like this, I might want to know the total orders that a customer has done, or when's the last time somebody ordered something from me, or which sales representative had the most orders. Now that's interesting because sales rep work with customers and those customers make orders, but because they're connected through that relationship, through those two relationships, I can actually make a query to find out what's their bonus going to be. That's a great question. So what will the 5% bonus for each sales rep be? So let's go to Query and Design View. Let's add all the tables because I think it's going to involve all the tables, even if I don't use all the fields. So I know I'm going to want to know the last name of the sales rep, and I am going to want to know all the order amounts. And because I'm asking for a total of those amounts, I'm going to sum them up. And if I run it right now, you can see that these are the total amounts that each person's customers have ordered. Okay, do you notice that I have given myself an extraordinarily higher amount of orders than anybody else? That's kind of funny. Okay, and then I'm going back to Design View, and now I want to know what this person's bonus would be. So since this is a calculation, I'm going to use the first available column, and I'm going to type bonus, and that's what I want for, actually, yeah, I could do it here. Um, Trying to decide. I'm going to pause for a second while I decide if I want to do it here or just in the report. Okay, well, I am going to do it here because that way when I create my report, it'll just take its information from here. So I put in the name of the calculation with a colon, and then I told it what I want is the amount, which is over here, it's going to be summed over here, times 0.05, that's the same as saying by 5%. So this is going to tell me the amount of their bonus. And when I run the calculation now, I can see that it's actually working very nicely. 509 is 5% of 10,000. I just need to set the formatting for this. So I'm going to click on it, turn on the properties sheet, go to Format, set it as currency. I don't think I need any decimal places, but maybe I'll just let it be too since it is money. Okay, so now when I run it again, I've got its total amount and their bonus, and I'm ready to save this query. So this is going to be sales reps with bonus. Beautiful. So that's one query based on a really good question, and I know I need a report like that anyway. This brief called for 2 reports, so um, let me read the brief to you again in terms of what the company wants to print out. The company wants to be able to print out all of the orders placed by customers. So they want to see who placed what orders. They also want to see a report of the orders that each sales rep is responsible for, and they want to see the totals of those. So it's kind of the same information that's in here. Well, let's start the first report using a report wizard, customers and orders, and we're going to be grouping by customer. So I think I'll choose the customer data first. I'll have the last name, first name, and maybe the phone number. That's probably enough. And then the orders that they placed, I'll have all of that information about the orders except for, I certainly don't need customer ID again, I'll send that back. So now I've got the customer information and the order information, and when I choose next, I can see that it's grouping nicely. I have the name of the customer and then the order information below. And I'll choose next. Any further grouping? No, thank you. Any sorting? Well, yes, I'd rather see the orders by date rather than old. I've imported some information for this database so I didn't have to type it all again. And I think the dates in here and my data are going to be old, but that's fine. The design process is the same. I'm going to stick with stepped. I'm going to stick with portrait. and choose next. This is going to be orders grouped by customer. So when you're creating the name of a report that's grouped, label it in a way that the thing that you're showing, what it's grouped by. So orders grouped by customer, and we just don't say grouped, we say orders by customer. And then next, or finish rather. Let me close the navigation pane so I have a little more room. I need to go to layout view, and I'll close the property sheet. I'll make sure that this column is wide enough to show what I need to see. And now I can see, yes, this is great. I can see that Ed Billings ordered just this one, but Wilma Shu ordered all of these different orders. Now, if somebody asks me what's the total amount of orders that Wilma Shu ordered, I'd need to put a subtotal on here. So to put a subtotal on, I'm in layout view. I click on any one of the numbers. It doesn't matter where I'm clicking over here. I'm going to go to the totals icon, and I'm going to ask for a sum. And now I can see I've got a subtotal. So, oh, I see. Ed Billings actually ordered two things. Okay, so the subtotals are showing up there. If I click away, or if I look at it in report view, it doesn't seem very obvious which numbers are the subtotals. It's really kind of hard for your eyeball to pick it out. So I'm going to go back to layout view. I'm going to click on one of my subtotals, and I'm going to format them bold, and I might even put a little fill behind them. Let's see, how about that? That helps your eye pick it out really well. And one other thing you could do is in design view, you could grab a label, an AA label, and click next to it and say total of orders, and put that label right next to the subtotal, and let's see what that looks like. So total of orders, yeah, that helps your eye to pick out what numbers are the subtotals. Now at the bottom you should have a grand total, and here it is right here. It happens to be right at the bottom of the page. This also needs formatting, so in layout view I could put some color behind that. I could make it bold, I could make it underline. Come on. Okay, not responding very quickly. Okay, and then in design view I'd grab a label for that too, and I would type in next to it grand total all orders, and I would probably make that line up quite nicely. And then here's my report, all the customers with their orders subtotaled and grouped with a nice grand total on the report. Okay, that looks great. That is one report that I needed. I will save that. The other report that I needed was to see the orders generated by each sales rep. So this time when I go through my report wizard, I need sales rep data. So I'll choose last name, first name, pretty much that's fine. And then I also need the orders data, so I'll do order date and order amount, and I'll choose next. It's grouping very nicely, and if it was looking like this and I could see it wasn't grouping, you could just click on the other choice, the other table, and see if that doesn't produce the grouping you expect to see, and choose next. Any other grouping? No thank you. Any sorting? Well, yes. How about sort by order day? And next. I'll choose to stick with stepped and stick with portrait. So I'm also seeing the orders. And what am I grouping them by? Well, I'm grouping them by sales rep. So I am going to finish, and I'm going to go through the same steps that I did on the other one. I would like to see which sales rep has the most, and I would like them, grouped nicely. So I'm going to go to layout view, click on an amount, ask them to be summed. When I get my subtotal, I'm going to go to format and bold. I'll put some color in there. I'll go to Design View and I'll put in a label that says Total Orders. And at the bottom, since I know I'm going to need to do it anyway, I'll do the same thing. I'll put some formatting on here and I will put a label down here, Grand Total All Orders. And let's see, I might need to move that away from my sum a little bit, and let's look at the report now. Got things lining up nicely, got subtotals. I can easily see that I was the most successful sales rep. That's I don't know why that is. It must be sort of subconscious that I gave myself the most money, but I guess I get to when I'm designing something that's just pretend anyway. Okay, so those are great reports. I'm going to close my reports and save. And now I'm going to create one last report, even though it wasn't called for. Actually, here's a report that is always needed. I'm going to create a relationship report. That was easy. Okay, and then also I'm going to create a report based on this query that shows the sales rep bonus information. So I'm going to click on this, click on Create, Report Wizard. I want all the fields. I'm going to choose Next and Next. I don't need any grouping, but I guess sorting by last name would be nice. And Next and Next. These wizards are great. Okay, sales reps with bonus, I'll put in amount. I'm not grouping anything in this report, so I don't have to say this by that. And I'll choose Finish. Here's this nice report. I've got the name of the sales rep, the sum of their total orders, and I might change that label there. In fact, I think the name of the report and that label could be better. I think it'd be nicer if it said sales reps with total order amount and then bonus or something. But anyway, that looks good, and it's another report. And now my database really is done except for the switchboard. That's the next video.